Noah has been my best friend for almost 3 years now. One time, my mom had something that needed picked up, so myself and Noah drove over there to get it, and I felt really anxious having him in the car just because it was the first time that he was ever going to see the outside of my mom's house. I didn't want him to see that side of how I lived. If Noah or anyone else sees the inside of my house, I do feel scared that they'll judge me and not want to be in my life anymore.
Now, 3 years ago, I met Tracy, who asked for my help to confront her 71-year-old hoarder mom who was facing eviction.
My mom's house is vile. She has a very hard time throwing things away, even trash. She'll hang on to newspapers, books, childhood toys.
All right, so this is the living room. There's actually furniture under here. Walking through is like an obstacle course. You cannot even go a step without stepping on something.
What was this like growing up as a child?
Brings on an enormous amount of shame. I know something needs to be done.
My mom has done immense damage to me psychologically growing up. When I've tried to confront my mom with things from the past, she gets very explosive, very defensive, and you're left to feel like a horrible person.
What is your connection to the objects that you collect?
From the time I was little, I wasn't allowed to have possessions. Everything I did was wrong. Everything I did was resulted in some form of abuse. But the objects never rejected me. I wasn't allowed to own myself.
But you own these things,
Well,
which you weren't allowed to before,
correct.
but now you can.
Dr. Phil, this is not intentional. I totally describe this home as catastrophic. I'm not comfortable having anybody in this house that is going to pass judgment, ridicule me. If I get something that I like, I don't want to get rid of it. I mean, what is your function? None. But I'm attached.
I do think you have a hoarding disorder, and everyone is different. I think for you, it's very anxiety-driven, and I think anxiety often occurs with depression, and I think it's trauma-induced. And if you had a way to alleviate that depression, if you had a new way to hit the reset button, you would do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You
Yes.
want to be
Yes.
free of that.
I wouldn't be here if I didn't.
What I propose to do is to intervene in that with you in a very intense way. Well, that happened, and Robin says that I was the catalyst who helped her face her hoarding issue head on. When she heard about Jackie's story, she wanted to share some of the things she learned, one mother to another.
I totally believe that Dr. Phil changed my life. Dr. Phil absolutely blew the lid off my hoarding. He faced me down with my daughter and we talked. There was a lot deeper issues going on that I needed to face. I guarantee you, there are a number of things going on in your life, Jackie, and none of them are by choice. So one of the most important things is to understand that you have to forgive yourself for being human. I know it's been difficult for me with 3 daughters that suffered as a result of what I was going through. So embrace your daughter, and she needs to understand Mother loves you. She didn't choose to be messed up. She wants help. I'll always be grateful to Dr. Phil for realizing how much help I needed on my journey, because nobody can do it alone. You can't just turn off a switch. Dr. Phil is a hero in my book. Thank you, Dr. Phil, from the bottom of my heart.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.